Hello and welcome back to another episode on the channel by me, TheWiseJames. I'm just doing a second part of this. I have missed out a little bit here because, in all honesty, I wasn't recording. I was trying to do a reaction video, been doing one for about half an hour now, but it wasn't recording. So I've missed half the video, and if I redo this half of the video, well, this bit that I've missed, and react to it, it won't be genuine. It's not a genuine reaction because I've already reacted. So I can't go back and fake it. Like, I'm gonna have to carry on. Okay, my apologies.
It to be murder before a certain point. Like, obviously, like, if the fetus is viable, if, you know, like, there are certain points where
I only ever use secular arguments. So even if it is the case that I believe in God, I've only ever used secular arguments.
So what would your argument be,
that the case for sentience makes no sense, and that scientifically, the established scientific consensus, the legitimate scientific consensus, non-sociological consensus, is that this is a human life at conception, immediately. That is the scientific consensus. You can look at any source you want. That's the scientific consensus. So if that's the case, right, then we should treat it as though it's a human life.
Sure. Yeah. And I think that's going to vary from person to person. I think that there's a lot of people in the scientific community. And again, the scientific consensus does vary on when life begins.
It does not.
Because the religious idea is
the consensus does not vary. There's no source you could ever look to. And I'm willing to be corrected right now live. There's no source I've ever been able to find which refutes that the scientific consensus is that human life begins at conception.
Oh, thank you.
There would be no...
The reason why the scientific consensus is that life begins at conception is that in order for a human life to begin, you need the sperm and the egg, right? And as soon as the sperm is in the egg and it's fertilized, that is then a human embryo that will grow into a human. It is the very, very, very beginning, the first step of human life. Because before that egg is fertilized, it's not a human life. It's half the component for human life, but it isn't the beginning of human life. But as soon as that embryo is, as soon as the egg is fertilized with sperm, then yes, from the eyes of science, that is the moment a human life begins. That is literally the scientific definition, because you can call it other names because it's not an adult human, it's not a baby human, it's not a child human, so it has different terms and names. You know, it's a fetus at one point, but at that point it would be an embryo, I guess. I think. I'm not a specialist in science. No, sorry, in biology. Don't quote me on that. So, yeah, like Andrew is perfectly right.
No other way to determine human life. Other than that, it began at conception. You wouldn't even be able to determine it another way. But you can go ahead. What does scientific consensus say? When does human life begin?
Sure.
I'll wait.
The very first step of human life is where it begins, and that is when an egg gets fertilized. There is no arguing it. There is no debating it. That is the two components required for human life. So once you have them two components together, it starts to grow into a human. So therefore, it is the very first step of human life. There is no human life before that. It is just the components for human life.
So it's saying that there are three different perspectives: the scientific, philosophical, and religious. Scientific, most biologists agree that a new, unique human organization comes into existence at fertilization.
So human life at conception.
However,
at conception, right?
But they're saying that a new human organism, but there's people that have different agreements. That doesn't necessarily necessitate that doesn't mean life.
Well, what is life? It's alive?
I mean, that's what I'm saying is it's different for everyone. They're saying that the human organism forms at conception, but that doesn't mean it's life.
Well, what is an organism? Is it alive?
I mean, they're talking about human life.
Yeah. Okay. But what is life? An organism would be alive, right?
I mean, but again, there's a difference between human life and an organism. Don't you agree?
If an organism is alive and it's a human organism, then it's human life, right? How could it not be?
I mean, yeah, you can believe what you want. I think just different people are always going to have different opinions on it. And
I was just pointing out the scientific consensus.
Sure. Yeah.
And I was correct, right? Scientific consensus by most biologists, which would be consensus,
yes,
say that a human life begins at conception, right?
Sure, yeah.
So then what we're left with from the secular perspective is sentience, and that really makes no sense. That's it. So I would always use the secular argument.
Okay.
The secularists can't determine when sentience begins. Since they can't determine when sentience begins, there's no reason for us to assume it doesn't begin at conception of life.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's different arguments for like, so I understand your argument's more biological. That makes sense. I understand your argument. I mean, there's different reasons people argue for being pro-choice and pro-life. So pro-life, pro-choice, but, there's different ways of looking at it, and I don't think we'll ever agree. So I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, but good. I enjoy hearing about your arguments and what you have to say. So I've never been, I never heard that specific point. So.
Kylie, you mentioned that there were some topics you would have, other topics you would have liked to speak on. Is there, from your prompts, would you like to bring any of those up, or?
Yeah. Okay. So do you really believe that out of the 4 components of the 4 principles of general feminism, which is working to increase gender equality, that's number 1, and expanding human choice, number 2?
What? No. If feminism worked towards human equality, they would have to fight for male rights. I have never in my life seen a feminist fight for male rights. So they can't sit there and say the first rule of feminism is the fight for equal rights. That's bullshit. What was the second one?
Which is working to increase gender equality. That's number 1, and expanding human choice, number 2. How do you suppose that those 2 things could be problematic?
Yeah, let's start with expanding human choice, actually.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite ones. So you're not really for expanding human choice, right? Like, just only kind of? Like, you don't want me to have a choice to be able to drink and drive, right?
That's a good point.
Sure.
Want me to have a choice to stop at a stop sign?
Like, sure, yeah.
Yeah, like short of some like externalized emergency. So what choices do you want me to be able to have? Let's start with those.
Sure. Anything related to agency, within reason, without harming others.
Yeah, but I mean, me drinking and driving doesn't harm others.
Opportunity.
Right? Does me drinking and driving actually harm others?
It can.
But everything I do can harm others.
Right.
So that's a strange argument, because when you're talking about freedom of choice and you say, well, we can limit this choice because it can do harm, that would be every choice.
So let me clarify then.
Okay.
Expanding human choice such that it promotes autonomy and agency without infringing upon the rights of others or the safety of others.
Yeah. Now you see why I was so specific about rights. Because
Yes,
it's definitionally part of what you believe, right?
Being specific is important.
So, yes, being specific is super important. I was very specific about rights. That's why I wanted to know where they came from.
Right.
Because I looked at your definition, which I wrote down earlier, which was the 4 parts. And I'll read it to you, the 4 parts, if you don't believe that I wrote it down.
No, I believe you. You've definitely been paying attention.
But
so.
you kept on saying, like, I don't think that this is pertinent when we're talking about forced doctrine and rights. But the entirety of your second pillar of feminism revolves around choice and rights. So everybody should have a choice unless it expands to infringe on someone else's rights, right?
Like a living person, yeah.
Yeah, like a living person. Okay, we're going to leave abortion and all that aside. We're just talking about, we'll just say, like, you're alive. At least we'll agree you're alive when you come out of the womb.
Sure.
Right? We can agree to that. So, but here's the problem, right? It's like, let's take something easy, like guns, for instance, right? Should I be able to own an AR-15?
Depends on who you ask and which state.
I'm asking you.
Do I think you need an AR-15?
Nah, that's not what I asked. Should I be able to own one?
Should you be able to own an AR-15 that has, because there's specific types, right? There's like ways you can prevent the AR-15 from firing rounds.
No, I mean a
after
fully
round
automatic
after
machine gun.
round. No.
Okay. Why are you taking away my choice?
Because like that would be an example of the specification that I made about how it infringes upon the safety of others.
Okay, what about a semi-automatic?
That's a good question. I don't really know why anything that even that large and semi-automatic would be useful, but I don't know a lot about AR-15s. So.
No, I understand. I'm not trying to hold any potential ignorance you have about the operation of guns against your argument. After all, then I can say tractors do a lot of damage and not know anything about tractors, but still know they do damage, right? So I think that that's a legitimate argument for you to say.
I mean, I know, yes, but yes.
Yeah. Well, what is it chambered in then?
I mean, my dad is like, has a lot. He has like a gun safe, and I grew up with him like shooting and stuff.
Do you know what caliber an AR-15 shoots?
No, I don't.
Okay. So,
I mean, again, I'm not familiar with AR-15s really, but
yeah. So we would say, like, functionally, you don't know too much about the product we're talking about.
Sure.
I'm fine with that. I was
Okay.
just pointing that out to be hyper charitable. But
Sweet of you.
how is that, considering the fact that I will never, and almost nobody who ever owns an AR-15 will use one in a violent act? Why is it worth limiting our choice?
is that true?
Oh, yeah. Do you know, for instance, almost all gun crime is committed with handguns, and almost all of it is committed by one segment of the population with handguns. When it comes to long
What
guns,
segment?
that would be the black population mostly.
With handguns?
With handguns,
And
yeah.
then with shotguns, is that what you're saying?
No. With rifles
Yeah.
or shotguns, you're more likely to be beaten to death with hands and feet than a rifle or a shotgun, including an AR-15. That's if we took all of the mass things, I can't say what they are, but the mass things that happen. If we took even all of those into account, you're still more likely to get beaten to death with hands and feet
Interesting.
than you are to. So, but how does that expand my choice then, though? That this is an operational thing that I want, and somebody definitely wants to sell it to me, and I want to buy it. Why are you limiting my choice?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good question. I feel like it's very philosophical at that point. I do think like the stigma around owning guns, like I'm definitely for stronger. I just don't understand why anyone would need to own like a fully, like just the fact that if anyone got their hands on it, it just is scary. I don't know why anyone would need to be able to shoot that many rounds that quickly.
Well, you believe in rights, right?
Yes, the right to own
Freedom of choice is what we're going to at the minute. Like,
guns, I do believe, is important.
Yeah, so that would be a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of the free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Right,
That's our
sure.
Second Amendment, right?
Yeah, no, I mean,
and that
sure.
is a right.
Sure.
And wouldn't it be
I'm
infringing?
not trying to take it away. Like, yeah.
Well, you're trying to limit my choice with that right, and you haven't explained how exactly it infringes on anybody that I own an AR-15.
I mean, there have been, yeah, I mean, I think the most notable example, wasn't it? I mean, I'll have to specifically check, but the one in,
Well, I can grant any like mass, homicide event that may have happened with an AR-15.
Yeah.
Sure. What does that have to do with me?
right. I think the point being, I think, is to determine if something infringes upon the rights of others or the safety of others should be, is something that is up for like debate. And so I'm not here to tell you like what does or doesn't, what is or isn't, like I'm not like a governing agency. You should probably ask somebody who knows more about
But
that.
it's the second pillar. The second pillar of your ideology.
Right,
is
I'm talking about human agency in terms of like not like the right, like I'm specifically talking about the ability for someone to get the job they want. Like you immediately brought it back to guns. I'm talking about the ability to have the equal opportunities to like have someone take care of your children while you go to work and stuff so that you can advance your career. Like
I think that's fair.
know.
I think that's a fair point to make. So
Right.
if like a woman wants to get a job at a firm where a man controls the firm, doesn't want to hire her because she's a woman, you would say that that's infringing on her choice.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, I think that that's completely fair. If it is the case, though,
I
that's
feel like I don't know enough about guns to be able to like accurately come up with something. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Well, we could use anything that you could ever know about with gun wise. We just use that
Okay.
instead of an AR. But
Yeah.
the point is that if I wanted to have a firearm of my choice,
Yeah.
right, and it wouldn't actually hurt anybody, the expansive of choice seems like you're saying that business owner doesn't have choice because she has the right.
fucking adverts.
Right? However, if it harms him and his business, it's the same argument you're making for the AR-15. You're saying because other people may do bad thing with this, right? May do, like horrible things. Some people may. The vast majority of people do not, right? We need to govern their choice in order to have safety for society or safety for individuals.
Right.
How is it, though, that if you tell people who they have to hire, you're not also limiting choice? How's that work?
It's not saying who you have to hire. It's saying who you cannot discriminate against. Like, the
That would be who
1964
you have
Civil
to
Rights
hire, though.
Act.
Right?
I think that racism is designed to combat, or that legislation is designed to combat racism and sexism.
Yeah.
Versus so the protection is more for the person. Like there's more protecting being done for the person who is being hired than there is harm being done to the business by being told they can't be racist. So that's how it outweighs it.
Can
in my
you demonstrate it?
Sure. So if I'm a woman and I'm equally qualified as a man and I go in to get a job and they're telling me that I can't be hired because I'm a woman, then that causes immense psychological and financial harm, right? For the company to have to hire me instead of the man, even though I'm equally qualified, that does not actually harm them in any way because I have the same qualifications and abilities as the man does.
Okay, so,
right? So
I
in my
want
mind,
to go buy a fully
does that even harm the company? I don't know.
Well, I think it does.
How?
Because it limits the choices and demoralizes the agencies at the top who may not want to hire you for whatever arbitrary reason.
But like,
they have.
let's say specifically, it's like they don't think women are good and like at the job.
Sure, let's just say that that's true.
You think that should be protected?
Well, I mean, from their view, it's going to hurt them, right? Like, there's no doubt that that's going to hurt them. You may not agree with the reasoning why it hurts them, but you can't disagree that it's going to hurt them.
Subjectivity versus, like you're saying, for the subjective experience.
Well, it's all subjective there.
Right? No, but the subjective, I mean, not necessarily. Like the objective, there is an objective truth that discrimination is harmful.
Wait a second.
You don't agree?
Wait a second. Hang on a second. Then that would also be an objective truth then. That if people are forced to do things they don't want to do, like hire people they don't want to hire, then I would make the same argument that
you
that
think
would
that's as
objectively
bad
harm
as like
them.
racism?
Did I say as bad or objectively harmful?
Okay, so let's.
So when I say like I want to go buy an AR-15 and you say no you can't, right? That's doing the exact same thing. I don't understand. Like, what's the distinction here? It sounds like you're telling me what I have to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think some people see it that way. I do have an interest in public safety, though, so I think that sometimes, certain actions, if they're racist, sexist, harmful, cause a lot of psychological or financial or other physical harm. I don't think that those should be protected over the beliefs of the inferiority of a person.
Are you aware of
based off of a characteristic they can't control? Yeah.
Are you aware of how many DEI laws there are?
I mean, I know there's a rollback now that Trump is in office, but sure, go ahead and explain.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to hiring practices or non-discriminatory practices, right, there's hundreds and hundreds of laws at both the local, state, municipal, and at the federal level, right? Mm-hmm. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds which govern this behavior. Mm-hmm. You're telling me that none of those, which all of them are designed to expand choice, mm-hmm. are infringements upon the hiring practices of people who want to hire who they want. Like, if I wanted to have a male-only firm because it just wanted one, mm-hmm. why is that actually a problem?
Right. I mean, I guess to your point, there are like women-only gyms, and
yeah. If I want a male-only firm and literally I'm public about it, I'm like, I just don't want to hire women because I don't really like them that much. If I just said that, like outright, I just don't really like them that much, and I just don't want to work with them. And it's my company. I fucking own it. I built it. I invented everything. What is actually the problem with that? Why can't I just do that? Why do you want to? Why do you want to like infringe on my choices?
It's like the 1964 like Civil Rights Act is probably going to be a problem for you. I don't.
Well, I mean, do you know what freedom of association is?
Freedom to associate with who you want.
Yeah. Do you think that that's an inherent right?
I think for corporations aren't people. So I don't.
Corporations are people. What else would they be?
They shouldn't be people. I think that's where we disagree, because in some cases
How could a corporation exist without people? People represent the corporation.
Supreme Court has upheld that the corporations like have the same rights as people. So if you own a company and you're religious, then you don't have to pay for like reproductive services or birth control.
Yeah,
right?
What else would you couldn't classify them as anything but people? People are the things which run corporations. Corporations are people.
I disagree. I think that
without people, there is no corporation. There is no corporation.
Corporations are entities. They are run by people, but I think that they should be held to a different standard.
Is there any
than people.
conscious entity that you can think of that talks and can speak like you and me and make decisions like you and me that's not people?
Yeah, sure. No.
Yeah, sure. No. That was the most disingenuous answer you could ever give in your life. Yes, no, maybe. I don't know. Can you repeat the question?
No. So that, I mean, if that's the
Right.
case, they're making the same types of decisions that you and I are making.
But
why wouldn't
so
they
you
be
think-
assumed to be people?
Because they have different sort of standards of operation. They have laws they have to follow that are different from people. Like in terms of the government's eyes, I believe it should be considered not a person. I think it's fundamentally the way that it operates is different. I mean, it's not one, it's like a conglomerate of things and people who work in a company. So
I don't have a corporation, let's say then, and I have a private business practice
right.
where I'm a landscaper. And there's a woman who comes in, she's definitely qualified for the job, and there's a man who comes in who's slightly less qualified for the job, but I just kind of want to hire him anyway because I just don't really like women. Why is that not something I should have the freedom to choose for myself? Why?
I mean, I just think we're operating at a different moral capacity. I mean, a lot of my things that I say are rooted in morals, and you're making yours vote in sort of laws.
I'm asking you for the moral argument.
She said a boot like a Canadian there, or guess like someone on the Canadian border. You hear that? She says a boot, not about, a boot.
I just think we're operating at a different moral capacity. I mean, a lot of my things that I say are rooted in morals, and you're making yours vote in sort of laws.
I'm asking you for the moral argument.
I'm telling you that I believe it's wrong to make someone feel ashamed and not hire somebody and give them different outcome based off of their race or sex or
But you
sexuality.
don't believe it's wrong to tell people that they must do a thing they don't want to do.
Not at all. No, I don't. Because
So then it's not about choice then, is it?
I suppose if you want to make the argument you're making, then no.
Yeah, then it's not really about choice. Okay, so the second pillar of feminism is not
right. You
true.
just debunked it so fast, just like that.
It's pretty false. Yeah, it's pretty false. You just said it's not really about choice.
Sure.
It's really about an agenda, right? What was the third pillar of feminism?
Well, I think we're getting close to the end. Is this what we want to talk about for the last, few minutes?
Well, we have another 30 minutes.
Sure.
It's 5:59 right now. We have.
All right. Well, I might just have to take another break because I'm not feeling so hot. Is that all right? But I'll tell you what I would like to talk about next, though.
Well, one thing here, I think it would be fair.
I just told you I have medical issues, though. I genuinely need to take a break.
Hold on. I'm fine with you taking the breaks.
Okay.
But given the frequency and the duration of said breaks, I think it's reasonable to ask for an additional 10, 15 minutes to make up for the breaks that have occurred thus far.
Sure. I will give you 10 minutes more. So we can go till 6:40. But
That's
other than that, I truly
me.
cannot stay longer. I have problems. I have medical
look, do
problems.
you want to go ahead and take the break and we'll let some chats come through? Okay. All right. Here's what we're gonna do, guys. Since we are getting close to the end of the show, make sure you get your messages in now. There's quite a few. Andrew, if you can just stay for just a sec.
I'm staying.
There's quite a few. We'll try to get them all in. We'll do a bit more. So streamlabs.com/whatever. $99 TTS. Also, like the video if you're enjoying the stream. I need to do a quick sidebar with Andrew here really quick. I'm going to put it on intro screen. Give me 10, 15 seconds. We'll be right back. All right, sorry about that, guys. We are back, though. I'm going to read a couple chats here. Ripter, the problem with feminism is that men overwhelmingly allow women to redefine what masculinity should be, while women often concede no such ground to men who have a preference for how women should behave. How is this equality, since she's gone? Andrew, do you want to quickly, 10
very
seconds?
quickly, this is why I always tie them to virtues, and thus far, nobody has argued this definition. It's a big defeater for feminist ideology as well.
All right, Ripter, thank you for that. We have Lucas. Here it is. Truth is, the little lady is weak and intellectually feeble, and otherwise mired in echo chamber with her views never challenged. Just a hunch here, love, but an oral argument in front of SCOTUS is probably not in the cards for you. Now bring out the therapy dog. Okay. Lucas, you maybe wanted that directed at her, but she did have to step away for a moment, but the audience did get to see it, and we do have a bit of a time limit here, so I'm going to see if there's any Streamlabs messages that we can let come through.
Bring in the super chats.
Let's see here. One sec, guys. There's a lot, so I'll try to get through to all of them. One sec. Shoot. We have US.
Sorry, I was responding to something on Facebook there. My apologies. I'm dealing with trolls at the same time as reacting to this video. Busy man. I'm a busy man.
SMC.
Busy man.
User donated $100. Big fan of Andrew even though I'm older than him. Member at Crucible. This lady hasn't had an argument since you hacked her phone reception. Lolly.
Yeah, we've got what Faraday cage in the studio, so they can't. It allows our signal to get out, but all right. Thank you for that.
They've got a controlled Faraday cage with a Wi-Fi on the edge, so that the connector on the edge is for only their devices, so they can use their devices, but the guests can't use theirs. That's hilarious, boys. That is fucking hilarious. I would pull that sort of shit, because then that way they have to focus on what they're doing rather than messaging their friends. Yeah, it's smart, actually. It's smart.
Christopher Murphy, thank you. Or Christopher Murphy's about to come through. USMC, thank you.
Christopher Murphy donated $100. I'm a proud Crucible member.
Thank you.
You and Rachel are finally getting the recognition you two deserve. Keep it up. Brian, don't apologize for being a good host. You're the man.
Oh, I appreciate it, Christopher. Thank you. I'm trying to be as fair as I can. All right, here, I'll let the...
I've actually had someone offer to pay me, because I'm assuming if I leave early, you won't pay me. But I've had someone in my comments offer to pay me the amount that I was paid to be here. So I'm going to go because I have medical problems. I'm not feeling good.
What if somebody in our chat offers to pay you
more?
Do you think they would?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to stay for a bit more drama. There's a lot of people out there with more money than what they know how to do with. So they'll spend money on her just to sit there for longer.
Well, they would pay me and then...
Yes, if someone offered, I would stay and I would cry on camera. But I don't know if they will.
This is why we have the wage gap. Sure. This is literally why we have the wage gap, ladies and gentlemen.
But I highly doubt that someone will offer that.
I wonder, so they're offering you...
They're offering me 50.
So if you stay for another 2 hours, what would that cost?
Oh my God.
Like $500?
No. My God. More.
On top.
Like probably double.
Double
500, so 1,000.
The original. Okay, double the original. So I think we would need, in order, would you actually, if it was doubled,
if it was actually doubled, I would stay, because again, I do have a problem, so I could probably stay a little longer.
2 hours.
I would just have to
2
take
hours
breaks.
Beyond, so we're talking 8:30.
Sure. Then I would need triple. because I like
Troy.
Triple.
You're a tough negotiator, Kylie. You're a tough negotiator.
I like
this girl over here, tough negotiator.
I genuinely do have issues though. Like I'm not. That's not a lie. So I just don't like to talk about it. But I have a hard time. Yeah. Like I could like.
What is the issue anyway?
I don't really like to talk about it, but I've had like concussions, and stuff like that. So
Concussions?
It's like a brain, like a
TBI.
Yeah. I mean, traumatic brain injury. Yeah, it was a traumatic. It's like I get like really bad headaches and like.
Do you want? We have like
difficulty breathing.
Tylenol or ibuprofen. We could give you.
But I don't really want to go too much into it.
Okay.
But I have had someone offer me, but I just don't think this is a good environment. So I think I'll just take the offer that the person has given me of the original amount, and I'm just gonna head out. I think so. Yeah. I just I think my health is more important than whatever you've offered me, which is not much. So.
I mean, I don't think it's fair. You know, we've been very generous here at the Whatever podcast. I don't know if that's a fair categorization. So you said the double. So if somebody does essentially, somebody want to send in like an Ethereum.
And again, like this isn't really my network, so I don't think anyone's going to offer it. So, but I guess, you know, nothing is impossible.
Are there any takers in the chat who want to see this? Wait, let me ask the chat. Why don't I pull the chat? Chat, does anybody want another 2 hours on top of, so like 8:40 Pacific time?
No.
Pacific, is it standard time or?
Honestly, I find these two very annoying. This is one of the reasons I stopped watching as well. Like, it's not that they are annoying people, it's that they can't have a civilized adult debate without being disingenuous. Although Andrew's being fairly honest and decent, you know. I can't really fault him, although he's been a bit of a dick sometimes, but it has been warranted. Like, it's only in response to her behaviour. It's not like he's done it for no reason. So, fuck's sake.
I think, yeah.
Is it standard time or is it daylight?
All
No,
right.
it's standard.
I know how we can raise the money. So here on my notepad, right down here, okay, we're going to play Hangman. I'll play Hangman. Chat, we're going to play, okay, yeah, we're going to play Chat Hangman. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to play Chat Hangman. It's only 4 letters. That's it. You send in $100. It gives you the letter. I'll put in the letter, but we got to do it quick, okay? And then I'm going to rule them out. We'll play Chat Hangman. That's how we'll raise the shit. Well, look, hey, tell me, you got a better idea? You got nothing. All right, let's do Chat Hangman.
I'm going.
Let's do a crystal pop.
A crystal pop.
You got Ogle in the chat.
You guys have been lovely, but I really, like, again, I need to leave. Like,
Okay.
I'm not feeling good. But I appreciate the debate. It was interesting and fun.
Do you want to give a closing statement?
My closing statement is that I love to learn and to meet new people.
Get it out of your head and into your home with wayfair.co.uk.
If you financed a car in the UK between 2007 and 2021, you could be owed up to £3,987.
And I wasn't putting my medical issue aside for money. I didn't know how long this was going to be. That was my fault, I will admit. But I appreciate like learning new perspectives. I was hoping this would be a more calm and demure experience because I've been trying to be more, you know, about facts and negotiating. But I appreciate the time that I've had here, and I'm, you know, looking forward to learning more about you both. So.
Wait, what does that mean?
Oh, I mean like learning more.
She's about to rage quit. I've just looked ahead in the video. She's about to rage quit.
More about, like, I knew about your network before coming in. I had seen some videos, but now I'm more interested in like you guys.
Yeah. So, what about this? We'll double, but we add 2 hours on top. So that's
it's like
we'll double it. I'm not going to ask the audience.
Right.
We'll double it. Whatever podcast, we'll double it.
Right. But
you stay.
If I didn't have an actual issue, I would stay for the money, like if that makes sense. But I like have to go, so I'm gonna go. Like it's not like a money thing anymore.
Are you willing to stay for Andrew's closing statement and a few chats?
Yeah, I will stay for that.
Here,
but
wait,
can we make it 5 minutes?
Okay, 10 minutes. That's fair. That seems fair.
I mean, I literally just
Here, we got Leonidas. Here, listen to Leonidas, then Andrew's gonna give his closing statement.
Leonidas donated $100. Highly curious, age of kids you teach? Also, what is a woman? Also, are women as a group oppressed in the USA?
There's a lot there, but okay.
If so, how?
That's a lot.
Are you
Here, we'll
as a
rapid
woman
fire it.
oppressed? If so, how? And are men as a group oppressed?
And you said you're an educator. Are you teaching?
Yeah.
Like, are you tutoring?
I'm a
or-
private tutor, and I'm also a substitute teacher, and I
Sure.
A private tutor. Private tutor. I'm a private tutor. I teach people about feminism.
teach in 3 primary high schools in Chicago. Yeah.
So you teach like elementary school kids?
No, high school.
Oh, high school. Okay. He asked, "What is a woman?" Quick answer if you can.
I think a woman is someone
Adult female human.
who is, I mean, it depends. Like biologically, female is different from being a woman, but someone who's a woman is someone whose characteristic.
Yeah, because little girls can be females as well as adult women. So, woman is an adult female human, but little girls are females and women are females. People born with penises are not females.
A person who, associates themselves with femininity, and that is open to interpretation of who wants to identify as one.
If I may just ask one clarifying question, can a female become a male, or can a male become a female?
Like biologically speaking, I believe the sexes of male and female, but I think if a person wants to be a woman or a man, absolutely,
Okay.
yeah.
And then, are women as a group oppressed in the USA? Your answer?
I think it's possible, but I really need to leave.
May I just at least? Can you stay for Andrew's close?
No, I don't.
Look, we're not kidnapping you. I'm just asking if you can at least
But yeah,
stay.
you have to clarify you're not kidding. Yeah.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
leaving
not.
now.
But
it's
you
okay.
said you could stay 5 minutes. Come on.
I'm leaving. I mean, what? No, I'm going. But I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you for the experience.
Are you oppressed? Do you want to just answer that? You don't need to say into the mic. Just yell it out, maybe.
That's my closing statement. But for Champagne Pop, you guys were here for this. For Champagne Pop, I will send you the Andrew Wilson notepad with a special note right here for all my feminist little notes that I took, along with the complete and total dominant victory. I win. I fucking win. Just saying. It does.
He did win, like hands down. He won fairly much from the start. She's never ever had him on the back foot. If this was a boxing match, there's not a single round she would have won. Like he dominated that debate, dominated
Just say,
it. So,
I just want to point. I win.
I think that was that's a pretty decisive victory.
Pretty
Andrew.
decisive.
I'd like to congratulate you on your victory as the moderator. here.
Pretty happy about it. Not upset a bit. The thing is like, why are they so fucking? Yeah, these are the fucking ass kicking. Oh, women can fucking be in the military and ninja up men. They fucking get in a debate with them and suddenly they're fucking crying and shit. You barely say anything. Fucking tired of it, dude. Tired of it. Fucking She-Ra on the one hand, and then on the other hand, they're so sensitive. They just break immediately because you're just talking about. You're having a fucking debate. What does she think a debate? You know what it is? I know what it is. They think a debate is they hit the mute button on TikTok and then just talk at you. That's what they think a fucking debate is.
And there was like both of you were doing it. They're little mocking each other.
Which is fair. It's a debate.
It's rhetoric.
Yeah, it's
rhetoric. Look, she had a bit of a tone.
It's not required in a debate, but if I was in a debate and someone mocked me, I would mock them back. But I wouldn't be the first to mock them. But they might take something I say that I believe as mocking them, so they might think I mocked them first when I didn't, and then they go out their way to mock me. So I'd go out my way to mock them, all because someone accidentally mocked the other one. Do you know, it's so stupid sometimes.
The men do it. The men do it. Hey, we want equality. Was there not a man yesterday who we were going back and forth? Lots of mocking going on, shit like that.
Well, that guy on Thursday too.
Yeah, but and did it look like anybody was going quiet? Quiet.
Well, you know what's interesting, Andrew? You've raised this point before. Is that
That is such a father thing to do. Just mock the crying of the child.
We're treating them as equals
Yes.
because when you're debating a man, so you conduct yourself in the same way.
Exactly the same way.
And so you're giving her equality, basically. You tend to word this a little better than I do. But
I'm treating her exactly like I would treat a man, which is exactly what she demands I do. Which is wild to me. And, we've had so many debates now, nobody can say any different. Nobody could ever accuse Andrew Wilson of not being the same universally with men and women. The thing is like, look at the reaction, and they pretend that they want. Give me a fucking break. They like a fucking cheap chair. I barely even pushed on the worldview. I barely even pushed on. She had 10 topics. I had one topic. We get to my topic first. The rest of it's going to be a critique back. And what happens? Folds right away. Fucking ridiculous.
Andrew, let me ask you. Can you ask the audience to like the video? We need likes on the video.
Ladies and gentlemen,
guys.
especially those of you watching live from the Crucible, who right now are putting W's in the chat, and you better get the fuck over here on whatever and put W's in the chat here as well. Please like the video and send in just hundreds and hundreds of dollars for the kindness of Brian. He did, by the way, on his own dime, fly me out here. He did take care of the hotel rooms. We do want to play the kickback game. Remember, the Crucible's motto is always, we take care of the people who take care of us.
Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate that. And by the way, I was getting a little heat in the chat at the beginning of the show when I was kind of trying my best to. It's an
impossible position for Brian to be in. For those of you who think, well, that's not really fair, or Brian's being too nice, or something like this. Brian's job is to keep the debate on course. It's a way harder job than you think when you have such ideological distinctions. You're trying to keep the peace. Cut him a little slack. I've been in his chair hundreds of times. Not that chair, but been in the moderator chair hundreds of times. And I'm telling you, it's a harder job than you think.
Guys, if you want, get in some chats here. $100 TTS if you want.
Well, this will just be them two trying to fill in the rest of the time slot for what they were doing. Debating the debate, so to speak, because she left early. But I'm not going to sit there watching these two debate the debate they just had. So I'll just end the reaction video here. Obviously, if you haven't seen the first part was uploaded before this. This is the second part to this video. Thanks very much for watching. Have a good one. Take care. Peace. I know I didn't really say much in this one compared to the first one, but slightly distracted. But thanks very much. Have a good one. Bye.